Hi. So on October 16th, I got my letter of recommendation. And as of today, I finally got my testosterone. So in light of this joyous occasion, I wanted to make a little video more for myself than anybody else. Just kind of recording my pre-T voice as I'm getting my first shot tonight. And also just having a little chit chat about my experience and my past. Yeah, so cool. I'm turning 18 in 5 months, so that's pretty chill. Yeah, I came out in 8th grade, my 8th grade year, which was 5 years ago, and I knew for sure that I was going to transition when I was 12, and I didn't end up doing it until I was like mid-13, actually going through with it, because I thought about it a lot for years and never did it. And I'm really glad I did, because I honestly didn't think that I would be in this position 5 years later. It's so weird to think 5 years. Yeah, so I've been out for 5 years now, and life is life. But honestly, I feel so much happier than I was before I transitioned. I'm so glad that I listened to myself rather than everybody else and went for what I knew I needed to do, because even if it's confusing to other people or it's strange and they don't accept it, I accept myself. And before I transitioned, even shortly after I transitioned, I was so unhappy with myself, and I didn't want to be myself. I had visions for myself, and I was just in this female body, and I couldn't stand it. It made me disgusted with myself. And as a kid, I wasn't predominantly masculine. I played with dolls. I wore whatever clothes I wanted to. Usually I wore like baggy hand-me-downs from my dad or my brother. I used to wear my dad's old work shirts as pajamas. And I didn't really have a fashion sense because I didn't think about gender. I did whatever I wanted to. And while I played with dolls, I also was obsessed with Hess trucks. I played with cars with my brother on the little rollout car rug. I was begging my mom for a plastic mechanics toy set so I could be a mechanic like my dad. I had lightsaber wars. I loved Star Wars. I was always outside climbing trees. I was obsessed with wolves and cats. And I used to pretend that I was this transforming, shape-shifting, magical fucking superhero and that I was fighting crime. And yeah, that was my childhood. I have 2 older siblings. My brother moved out when I was 6, and my sister moved out when I was 10, and my parents also divorced around that time. I was 10 or 11. So I kind of was on my own for a lot of my childhood. And so I kind of, kept to myself. I was sort of boisterous, but my genuine feelings I sort of kept on the down low. And as I grew up, I became more reserved and quiet and stuff. Nobody really knew why I was like getting depressed and anxious and really self-conscious. They just figured it was normal puberty stuff where it's an awkward phase and you'll soon be comfortable with yourself. But that didn't happen for me until I went out of the way to transition and just shed the skin that, or not really the skin, because I'm still the same person. I just shed, the former identity that wasn't me, that I knew wasn't me for basically my entire life. As my siblings started moving out, I started resorting to finding escapes for myself because home life wasn't so great, and there was an internal battle going on inside of me. I didn't know why I was experiencing puberty in the wrong way. I started going onto online games and pretending to be a boy named Drew. And I was like a football player with tons of girlfriends and lots of swagger. You know how it is. And I was the most confident I'd ever been when I did that. But the people online did not know that I was not Drew. I used to tell them that I shared my account with my sister just in case I had to change back into feminine clothing when friends came over, because I didn't want anybody seeing that. I didn't want anybody thinking I was weird. I recall telling my mom that doing this online was the only place I felt myself and that I could be myself, that nobody understood me in the real world. And I also did that with reading books. I basically did anything that I could either say that I was a guy, pretend to be a guy, or I avoided gender in entirety. I used to read books about cats, warriors. You probably fucking know what I'm talking about. And I'm rereading them now because it was just such an obsession of mine. It helped me out so fucking much. But I, was warped into my own sense of reality where I was me. I wasn't what everyone wanted me to be. So, life was kind of a blur and it was really tough. But around, like I said, in 8th grade, I finally transitioned. And I didn't really come out as trans. When I came out, I would tell people that I was a boy, or that I told my parents I was their son. And the same thing with school. I ended up, leaving school, and I was homeschooled for a bit, because I was just so suicidal, and I had to, deal with hospitals and whatnot, and I just couldn't balance school into the mix. So I had to prioritize my mental health first, and so I kind of avoided having to come out, but I did transition in 8th grade. I did cut my hair. I started going by the name that I went by, and I didn't tell people. I told my one close friend that I had, and also when I was a kid, I had 2 best friends. My first best friend I'd had since I was 3, and he was a boy, and I always hung out with him. And I was also obsessed with my brother. I thought he was the coolest dude in town. I thought he was amazing, and I wanted to be just like him. Something about him just really struck with me. Him and my dad, I didn't understand why people were separating me from them, why they were saying that I was a girl. My mom would tell me that I needed to be ladylike and that I wasn't being feminine, and I loved when she told me I wasn't being ladylike. I thought I was badass. I thought hell yeah, somebody's recognizing my hard work, man. And then I met a girl in 1st grade who was my closest friend for 8 years, and I also found an escape in creating my identity based off of her, because in my eyes she was everything that everybody thought was amazing. She she had the looks, she had the talent, and I was a really jealous and envious person, and I ended up being a pain in the ass. I can see that now. I was a major pain in the ass, because I was so insecure with myself, and I took that out on myself, and I also took that on other people. I wanted other people to care about me. I wanted them to see me for who I am. And I knew who I was, but I didn't know how to convey that. I thought I could just keep it secret my entire life. I just knew that no matter what I did, no matter what I changed about myself, no matter what happened in my life, something about myself didn't match up. And I started identifying that with every time I would wear, say, feminine clothing, or play with these certain toys, or, be called she or whatever. It made me uncomfortable, and it started giving me the sense of dysphoria that I feel now. I had a kind of crazy childhood, and when I ended up coming out, I cut my hair, I went by the name that I went by, I wrote it on my papers, and I told only my friend, and I slowly came out to my parents. I came out to my mom first, and then I waited. And I told my dad, because I was really nervous about that one. And then I came out to I don't remember if I came out to my sister or not, but I know I remember coming out to my brother. Yeah, so it was kind of low-key, that I was sort of coming out. I guess my family really thought it was a phase. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all, because it's a really confusing thing. Your kids coming out as the opposite gender, how are you gonna deal with that shit? So, I just had to kind of prove to everybody that this is who I am, and 5 years later, if it wasn't me, I would have changed back, because you can't keep up a false sense of identity for that long, and I know that. I specifically know that. In 2013, right before I came out, I dressed so feminine. I put on makeup, I styled like my hair, I wore, I was kind of seen, and then I became like more feminine, and I tried to wear like feminine stuff. I was always looking for the attention of like guys and girls. I started cosplaying. I started getting into the cosplaying community when I was 12, and I would only cosplay guys, and it was another escape for me. Whoop-de-doo. Bet you didn't guess it. I dressed up as a guy all the time, and it really, really struck home with me. I was so confident that I would go outside and walk around like that. I would seriously go places and walk around like that. And it wasn't this like huge, elaborate, ludicrous outfit. It was basically just like a blonde wig, sunglasses, and an outfit. Like it wasn't, I just looked like a normal guy with sunglasses on, and I looked like a dick, but that really, really, really pushed me. So I was like experimenting, and I always cosplayed all the time. I was so obsessed with it. And then I finally came out, slowly. That was like my early childhood and my teenage years. And I became so depressed and so suicidal. I had a bad run-in with suicide a couple years back, and it's a really dark part of my life, and I try not to talk about it much, especially now. I don't talk about it that much. Recently, I think about it a lot, because I didn't think I would ever get to this point where I would be on T. I thought I would never get there. I need people to know that, I'm me, no matter what, like, I put on, I've just, basically, since I came out, I've just been myself. But I've known that it's me. Really, the majority of me growing and figuring out myself is with my mental health, trying to love myself and realizing that I can be myself, and the people who don't accept me, it's not the end of the world. They're not the world. They just don't have to be in my life. And now I'm okay with people not accepting me. I'm okay with people not understanding me. That's perfectly fine, because I forgive them and I love them for that. I love them for being the opposing side that may not agree or understand or accept me. Because with them I can see why I needed to transition, because I don't want to become one of those people. I don't want to become someone that is one of my enemies. The whole world is going to be against you. So why not be that someone to guarantee you will have at least one person on your side, and that one person is you. And it's taken me so long to figure that out. And I'm finally getting there. I doubt myself with my age a lot. I feel like people will think, oh, I'm rushing it, or I don't know, or, this is a really dumb decision. And, I'm perfectly fine with people thinking that, because I have doubted myself because of other people's questions for so long that I have realized what are my questions for myself, what I actually feel and what I actually question in myself, and what people's questions are. I know that this is what I need. And no matter if anybody doubts me, if anybody doesn't think that it's the right decision for me, I need to be confident myself, because something that's always intimidated me my entire life is that there are decisions in my life that I need to make for myself, and I can't ask people, what do they think I should do? What's their advice? This is one of those things, This is one of those things. I can't just ask people, what do you think I should do? Do you think I should do this or not? I need to listen to my heart. I need to listen to myself. I need to check the facts. I need to research, figure it out. Is this a viable option for me? Should I do this? Because this is going to change my life. This is a big decision. It's a really big decision. It's a lot of responsibility. And it's not something that you can just change because you think you might be this. You have to make sure. Just for your own safety, And I know. And I'm really happy with this decision. I just can't believe it's here. I've worked so fucking hard just to stay alive, just to push myself. And I'm doing it, I'm graduating high school, I'm going to college, I'm starting T, I'm getting a job, I'm doing these things, and, I'm not a kid anymore, and everyone goes through these things. I mean, not with T, but, everybody has to go through the moment in their life when they're transitioning from high school to the adult world, and it's scary, but it makes you realize, you've worked fucking hard. Well, some, not everyone, but, for the most part, you've worked really, really fucking hard to get here. And I know that now, I have confidence in the fact that this is a decision I choose to make for myself. It doesn't affect people the same way it affects me. It may scare people that I love, but ultimately they'll see how happy it makes me and how I needed it, because, I've decided to transition because this is what I feel I need to do for myself. I've been diagnosed. I've gone through the therapy. I'm continuing to go through the therapy because I need it, Life is a mysterious journey, and for the first time, I'm so ready to take that journey. I don't think about killing myself every time something terrible happens. I think about, okay, how am I going to address this? How am I going to do this? And now, I don't want to change myself anymore, I want to be myself. I'm proud to be myself. I'm proud of the man that I've become. And I'm proud of the man I will become. I don't think taking tea will change me as a person. In the way where it'll change my personality and how I view, things that happen in my life and whatnot. That's all for me to do. Tea is just going to align my body with my mind, and it's going to make me feel, normal, like I can function in society. So people not only, I see myself properly, other people see me properly, and, this is what I need to do for myself to be happy. And I know that. I've known that. Yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of rambling, but moral of the story is, regardless of what anybody thinks, I've done the work. I've done the researching. I've checked the facts. I've made sure that this is me. I've made sure that who I am is who I am, and this is what I need for me. Not for anybody else, not because what anybody else thinks, not because I just want them to see me a certain way. That's all I want to do. The only reason I want to do this is because I want people to see me a certain way. That's not it at all. This has nothing to do with other people. Sure, I want other people to perceive me as a guy. I want them to see me as a guy. I don't want people to be confused about me anymore, But this is for me. And I have confidently made this decision after years. I've made this decision to do this. And I'm glad, I trust myself that this is the right decision. I used to never do that. I never trusted myself. I never believed myself. I always second-guessed. I always asked other people what they think I should do. But this is my life and my decision, and I'm doing it. And I'm ready to take on the journey. I'm ready to be open-minded and learning, I'm ready to be tolerant of others, not be biased all the time, not be two-faced all the time, not shut other people that I don't agree with down, not, I want to be open to this world. I want to be listening to other people. No, even if I don't agree with them, I want to be listening to them. I want to forgive them for what they do. I want to love them, I want to be compassionate and empathetic. I want to put positivity onto this world. I don't want to spew negativity anymore. And I decided that maybe last year I fully decided. And even, I'm never going to stop learning. I'm never going to stop trying to get myself to not be so negative. It's not a thing that you can just decide to do and it happens all at once. It's a progressive lifetime thing, and I'm ready to take on that challenge. I want to be me. I don't want to be somebody else anymore. And that's what I am doing. So, wish me luck for my first tea shot today, and I'll catch you on the flip side. There's the sun. Oh, holy sun. Cool.